Yeah, good morning every one of you. So until last class we have seen this plasticizers. So now we will see this additives. So what are the additives? As we described this earlier in the first unit itself, there are five major components of any types of paints. Out of this one, additives are one. So additives are nothing but added in very small quantities. If we require to modify certain paint properties, then only we will add this type of additives. But to prepare a paint or some adhesive, something um, some organic coating, we don't have to add inevitably these additives. Okay, we can add depending on the properties which we require during this paint film formation. So to do that one, there are many roles which are played by these additives. So first role is as a dryer. This additive has to play a role of a dryer. So why? Because it has to accelerate the paint drying or hardening. How it can harden this paint drying or this drying characteristics? By catalyzing the oxidation of the binder. So oxidation of the binder, so it will exchange the bonds between the surrounding environment as well as the its film forming inside that bonding, and outside the bonding it will auto oxidize, or it will just help the solvent to easily vaporize, easily evaporate, leaving behind a thin or thick film depending on the requirement. So like in this type of additives, the examples of this type of dryers as an additive is red lead or litharge, or this also called this sulfate of manganese. So these are all the examples for the additives which can act as a dryers, especially as a dryers. Then plasticizers is also one type of additives only. So plasticizers, in order to improve the flowability characteristics, fluidity, everything we can enhance using these plasticizers. But this plasticizers is also called as a additives also. Why? Because to increase, it is increasing the paint flexibility. Okay, paint flexibility, they are increasing. Because of this, they are calling also as an additive, like DIOP, DINP, DOA, everything as seen in the earlier examples. So that forms under the category of a plasticizers. Then a third role which is played by the additives is a fungicide, biocide, and insecticide. Whenever we want our surfaces to be a good resistant for the fungus or the formation of this biocides and everything. So to do that one, so we don't want our surfaces to be catched by some insects or some bioorganisms or some fungus. So in that cases, we have to use some additives which are especially suitable for fungicide, this biocide or this insecticide, so that they can prevent the growth and attack of this fungi, bacteria, insects, all this. So that in that case, the examples will be the zinc perithion, something like this, zinc perithion, or aqueous of Duron dispersion, polyphase 689. This one, all the commercial names, by the commercial name polyphase 689. So this will be there. They will be acting as a fungicide or insecticide or the biocide. So whatever the required properties are there with the trade name, with the commercial name polyphase 689. So when you add that particular component to our organic coatings, that will be acting as our acting to kill or attack. So to inhibit the growth of that particular fungi, bacteria, or insects, so they will be acting as a good coating materials. The next role which is played by this additives is a deformers. So deformers, what are these deformers? So deformers usually, what happens? Deformers usually prevent the formation of air bubbles. If you see the paint, okay, during the paint application, we have to mix them with some suitable turpentine oil or this white kerosene we will call. So when we are mixing that one, some bubbles will be coming out. So after application also, so small bubbles will be forming, air bubbles. So the entrapped air bubbles, in order to prevent the paint not to form that entrapped air bubbles, so this type of deformers we can use. So this deformers are nothing but blends of hydrocarbons with fatty acid esters. So usually this deformers will be manufactured using a blend of hydrocarbons with a fatty acid esters. So that type of component, when you add inside that one, that will prevent the formation of air bubbles in the particular during the paint application. Then like a blend of various mineral oils with the fatty acids esters also act as a deformers in the paint. Then next one is polydimethyl siloxane. So this is also one type of deformer which is used to prevent the formation of air bubbles during the paint application. Whenever you are applying the paint, if the paint bubbles are forming, that is not creating a clear leveling. Surface is not level. Surface is not smooth. So in order to not to have that type of non-leveling characteristics or non-smooth characteristics, we have to add the deformers. Okay, deformers like a fatty acid esters with the hydrocarbons or fatty mineral acid esters with the fatty acids. Then siloxanes we have to add as a deformer. Then the next role which is taken by this additives are the emulsifiers. They will act as a good emulsifying agents. So emulsifying is nothing but wetting agent. Okay, emulsifying agent is nothing but an wetting agent. So usually they will increase the colloidal stability of the paint in liquid state. So paint is nothing but a mixture of various components. Okay, 5 different components. Okay, all these 5 components has to be remain in a colloidal state. So in order to remain them in a colloidal state, we have to add the emulsifying agents. Okay, that emulsifying agents, depending on the particular application, we will add. The next one is the UV stabilizers. So what are these UV stabilizers? So whenever we are using the exterior paints, okay, this is especially very much useful for the exterior paints. Whenever we are applying or using our paints to the exterior walls, okay, there is a sunlight falling on that one. There is a UV radiation which is falling that one. So we have to provide this UV stability. Why? Because they will just deteriorate. That paint will be just a small skin-like characteristics will be coming. The brightness of the screen, that particular film will be degrading. So in order to prevent that degradation characteristics, we have to add some UV stabilizers. They will provide a stability of the paints under UV radiation or a UV light. So okay, benzatriazole. So one of the example for this one is a benzatriazole. We can use as a UV stabilizer if you are using our paint for the exterior application. So especially for the interior application, not that much additive. This UV stabilizers is not required that much. But for the exterior application, this is very much compulsory. Otherwise, we have to add a coating. Add a coating once again. Okay, within a period of time, we have to add a coating. Next one. Then next major role which is played by these additives is anti-skinning agents. So anti-skinning agent during the container storage, what happens to the container wall? There will be a thin film, okay, which is forming due to this skinning properties of that particular paint. Okay, if that is forming, that entire skin, whatever the skin which is formed to the container, that is useless. That paint is useless. So whatever the remaining part which is remaining in the liquid form, that we have to use for our application. For example, you are storing a 1 liter of oil. Okay, if that paint it has a tendency of forming a skin, then what happens? Nearly if half liter of that particular paint is just skinning, then half liter is wasted. Only the half part of that paint is we can use directly. So other half part we have to throw. As such, we have to throw. So because of this, in order to prevent them from the formation of a skin in the containers, we have to use this anti-skinning agents like methyl ethyl ketoxin we can use. Then hydroquinone we can use, substituted phenols or various quinines we can use as an anti-skinning agent if you want our paints to be protected from the skinning towards the container. Then next one is the adhesion promoters. So paint, okay, in the paint what happens? It has to remain, various components has to remain in the colloidal state. At the same time, all these colloidal state particles has to attach on some substrate. Okay, that's the main application of the paint. It has to attach onto the some surface like a table, like some wall, okay, like some industrial instrument. Okay, everything it has to adhere. Okay, that attachment needs to be there. So if that attachment is not good, what happens? That paint film entirely will be peeled off. At some point in time, it will be getting out. It will be peeled off. So in order to prevent that, so we have to improve its adhesion properties. To improve the adhesion properties of the code, adhesion property of that particular coating to the substrate, we have to add this adhesion agent or adhesion promoters. So this adhesion promoters like various sealants. Okay, silence we can add organic functional silence or organic metallic compounds like various zirconates, titanates, chlorinated polyolefins. All this will be coming under the category of adhesion promoters. Okay, they will allow the paint to be remain in adhesion with the particular substrate, whatever the substrate which we are applying, whether it may be a table or industrial equipment or the wall. Okay, it will be strongly adhering, strongly attaching to that particular surface without any peeling off. So next one is a corrosion inhibition, especially when you are using our organic coatings in some corrosive environments. Okay, corrosive gases where the corrosive gases are very high, or the corrosive liquids handling equipments. So we have to fix there. So there the property of corrosion inhibition of our paint or the organic coating plays a very important role. So usually they will reduce the corrosion rate of the substrate. Okay, one of the main protective property of any organic coating is to reduce the corrosion property of that particular substrate. So whenever we require this corrosion properties or a protection property, then we have to add zinc phosphate or calcium modified silica gels or aluminum phosphate. This type of components, whenever we are adding to our paint, adding to our organic coating, so that will be acting against the corrosion. So they will be called as a corrosion inhibition paints or a corrosion prevention paints. The next one is this texturizers. So to impart a good texture to the coating, okay, texturizer is nothing but we are seeing the smooth finish or a glossy finish on many surfaces. Okay, how we are seeing that one by incorporating certain texturizers like earth materials or like this. So we have to impart them with a good material so that it will be looking as a good glossy finish. So that is the role which is played by the additives. Additives can take various roles. So they are usually added in a small quantities in order to have a special properties for this particular paint or particular organic coatings. So they can be taken by many roles, like it can take a dryer role. Okay, whenever we want a high drying rates or easy drying characteristics, so that the reaction between this open environment and also to the film environment will be very good, so that it will be easily, that solvent will be easily leaving the substrate. Then next one is it can be played by the role like a plasticizers. Okay, to increase the flowability or the fluidity of that particular organic coatings, we can add a plasticizer. Then the role played by the additive is the plasticizer. Then next one, if you want our coating to be prevented from the our substrate to be prevented from the formation of fungus, formation of this biological elements, or from attacking certain insects. So in that case, we have to use certain fungicide or biocide insecticide, especially in the marine paints. Okay, this type of fungicides, biocides, and insecticide paints are very much useful. Water resistant paints. Okay, this type of additives are very much useful in the marine related paints. Then flow controlling agent and leveling agent. Okay, this flow controlling agent or leveling agent is nothing but this one. So whenever we are applying using some brush or something like that, so that has to give a smooth finish. Okay, it has to give a correct leveling for our wall. If it is not giving a correct leveling for our wall, it is giving a irregular shape for that wall, then what is the point in using that type of paint? Okay, we cannot use that type of paint. So flow controlling agents or the leveling agents nothing but to increase the flow properties. Okay, flow properties of the particular paint, especially it is useful during the application of the paint. If the flow is not good, if its viscosity is not good, if it is offering a high drag, so that particular paint person has to apply a strong force in order to drag that paint from one location to the other location. So he has to smoothly apply that paint. So in order to apply that smoothly that paint, we have to apply certain flow controlling agents like a acrylic polymer, which usually contains the acetic acid groups, COOH groups with butyl solvents. Okay, or water as an improving agent, or for improving many types of leveling properties, water also can act as a this flow controlling agent. Then acrylic polymers also we can use, which contains the COOH groups, we can use to increase the wettability as well as this flowability characteristics. Wettability is nothing but whenever we are applying that particular paint using some brush or some spray, so it is wetting that particular substrate or not, depending, that is called as a wettability characteristics. To enhance that wettability characteristics, at the same time the flowability characteristics to offer a less drag during the application, and also the good leveling property of the paint, we have to add a leveling agents like many types of this acrylic polymers which are containing COOH groups. Then the deformers also, when we want this paint to be remain to not offer this air bubbles inside that one, we have to add certain deformers, like many types of mineral oil or hydrocarbon oil in a esterified forms with the fatty acids. We have to add as a deformers. Then emulsifiers we have to add, because there is a combination. Paint or a organic coating is nothing but a combination of various materials. So they have to remain in a colloidal state. In order to remain them in a colloidal state, we have to add certain emulsifiers to that paint. Then next one is UV stabilizers. So in order to prevent that particular organic coating from the UV light, we have to add certain benzotriazole like agents, so that it will be acting as a strong emulsifying agent, this UV stabilizing agent. Then next one is the anti-skinning agent. So in order to prevent this formation of a skin on the paint container or the paint storage container, we have to add certain agents like a methyl ethyl ketoxane, so that it will be preventing the formation of paint from the skinning in the can during the storages. The next one is the adhesion agent. So paint has to be in a adhesive characteristic with the substrate. So whatever the substrate we are applying, it has to attach to the surface. To have a good adhesion to that particular substrate, we have to add certain siloxanes, silanes, or certain organic metallic compounds. We have to add like zirconates or titanates. We have to add, so that it will remain in adhesion with certain substrates, whatever the substrates we are using. Then next one is the corrosion inhibitors. So if you want our paint to be inhibited from the corrosion environments or the corrosion atmospheres, we have to add certain silica gels or calcium modified silica gels or the aluminum phosphates we have to add as an corrosion inhibitors. Then texturizers. So to impart a good texture to our coating, we have to add a good texturizers. So depending on that particular composition of a paint, we can add like a earth materials we can add as a good texturizers to give a good textures for that particular paint, glossy finish of that particular paint. Okay, this is the completion of a third unit. If you have, you can ask me doubts, or otherwise just quickly I will revise this unit 3. Okay, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Unit 3 is nothing but concerned about this resins, plasticizers and additives. Okay, resins are nothing but one of the major components in the paint formation. So out of 5 major component, resin is very major component. Resin or binder or film forming agent, everything is same. So that resin, to have that resin, there are two ways. One is a natural way and another one is a synthetic way. So natural way, among the natural ways, there are many types of resins are there. So only for your syllabus, only rosin and shellac is there. So for the synthetic, from the synthetic sources resins, there are many types of resins are there. These are usually used in large quantities in any type of organic coating industries. Out of this many examples we have seen. Then criteria for their selection. So how we can select, based on what criteria we have to select. Then plasticizers, what are the properties, what are the types and applications we are seeing. Then additives, so there are various additives. Okay, there are various roles played by additives like a dryers, dispersing agent, anti-skinning agent and leveling agent. These are there for your syllabus content. So the binders or this film forming agents or resins are classified based on their source, like a natural and synthetic, based on their application, like a convertible and non-convertible paint. So convertible paints are nothing but which has to, after applying the paint, it has to undergo a polymerization reaction. Then only it will be completely giving a film. So in order to give a film, whenever the polymerization reaction is already happened before applying the film to the particular substrate, so that is called as a non-convertible film. So examples for this is given here, and examples for this convertible paints films are given here. There are examples for the synthetic or this one, and examples, various examples for natural sources are further divided into two types. One is based on the source, which are from the plant source, and from insect source or some petroleum source, they are divided. Then based on the solubility, the natural resins are divided into two types. One is oil soluble and next one is a spirit soluble. Out of all this, the objects, the words which are given in this green color and bold, which are there according to your syllabus. This we have seen. So rosin is a natural resin which are usually extracted from the plant sources like herbaceous sources. So from this one, this rosin is formed due to the damage caused to the particular plant. After obtaining this rosin, we will be purifying, we will be distilling that material, and after distilling, we will be using in many types of applications. As an insulating material also we can use, as a friction preventing, as a good friction agent, good adhesive agent to the particular flooring we can use. Like many types of dances, Italian dances, like Olympic weightlifting. Okay, in order to have a strong friction between this ground and also to his boots, so they can rub that particular boot onto the rosin or the coliform, so that the friction between that ground will be very good. Ground and that particular boot will be very good. In the bell, in this Irish dances or as a ballet dances, everything it can be used rosin as one type of adhesive agent, one type of friction good adhesion agent, good friction causing agent. So next one is shellac. So shellac is derived from the insect sources. So this insect sources is coming as a lac, okay, due to the lac insect. So this lac, it is just forming on the tree stem like this. So after forming this one, it will be scrapped. Entirely will be scrapped using some suitable scrapping material. After scrapping, it will be just inserted into some canvas like material. Canvas is nothing but a small cloth material, like a striped socks like cloth material. So in that socks material, so this entire sack, whatever the scrapped sack is there, it will be just thrown inside, and after that it will be given an heat treatment. So as soon as you are giving the heat treatment, whatever the insects are there inside that one, uh, um, so that insects will be leave, and after that the tree barks which are entrapped inside this lac will be just leaving behind. So after leaving behind, whatever the lac, this shellac material is there, that will be just prepared as a small flakes. Okay, after drying that flakes, it will be looking like this one. So this has many applications, uh, um, many applications in this paint preparations. So as an insulating material also we can use this one. So there are popular shellac material for that. How to prepare that one, I have shown the video during the classroom sessions. Then alkyd resins, these are the synthetic resins. So these are also used in many types of applications. Usually they will be derived by the condensation reactions between the polyhydric alcohol and the dibasic acids. So after obtaining this one, to prepare this as a liquid form, we have to dissolve in some drying oils. So after dissolving in that one, so we can use them in many types of organic coatings, many types of various applications. Then phenolic resins. These are formed due to the polycondensation reaction between the phenols and aldehydes, usually called as a phenol formaldehyde resins. So like a Beclet, you might have seen in the chemical technology one, Beclet. Okay, that type of materials are this one. So usually they will be looking as a this yellow color. So these materials are popularly used as a backlight in our old phones, like a Nokia phones. So they use this one. And after that they have stopped, they have used certain other materials. So nowadays also there are many applications for this one, especially in the heat, as a heat resistant material, especially at the high temperature regions, we can use this type of paints. Then next one is the advantages of various phenolic resins. Okay, there are many advantages. Then epoxy resins. Okay, as a not only as an paint, it can use it as an adhesive also we can use. So they are also known as polyepoxides, and they are very reactive class of components used as an adhesive as well as a protective coatings also. So they are looking like this. The next one is a chlorinated rubber. Usually these are nothing but a road painting. Road usually they are used in road painting materials for the signaling, for this tracking. So playing fields or the tracking, cycling or this biking, everything we can use this chlorinated rubber as one type of material because of its luminous characteristics, a good looking characteristics and luminous characteristics. They will find many applications. These are called as a chlorinated rubber. The next one is the vinyl resins. Okay, PVC, polyvinyl chloride, and everything. So that will be coming due to that coatings will be coming due to this vinyl resins only. So they will be looking like this yellowish or whitish color. They are used for especially for the waterproofing characteristics. They are good at waterproofing. Okay, water resistant. They are good water resisting. Because of this, we can use in laminating type of applications. This one. Then solvents or solvent blends. So the other major components for preparing the paint vehicle is solvent blends or solvents or thinners. Okay, paint vehicle is formed due to the film forming agent and solvent. So after forming this solvent and this film forming agent, that is enough as a protective coating. If you want certain other properties or want some coloring properties, we have to add pigments for that particular paint. Otherwise, paint vehicle is enough. So to form a paint vehicle, so other component, major component is a solvent or solvent blend or a thinner. So thinners, usually these are the organic components. So usually they will be increasing the flowability characteristics or decreasing the viscosity of that particular paint, and wettability characteristics will be enhanced. So the main criteria for the selection of a solvent is its dissolving ability. Okay, usually they needs to be high and volatility needs to be moderate. If it is very high volatile, so quickly it will be evaporating, so the losses will be very high. It is very low volatile, so drying will be very less. So then we have to wait for a long period of time to to dry our paints or the organic coating. The smell needs to be very low, and ignition temperature needs to be high in order to have a advantage on storage conditions. Then toxicity should be low and price should be low. So these are the parameters based on which we have to select our solvent based on our application. Then the most common solvents are aliphatic solvents, alcohols, esters, acetones, aromatics, water and white spirits also we can use. Then there are various types of solvent depending on the role which is played by this particular solvent. If it is a true solvent, it is called as a true solvent. It is used for the dissolving the binders. And if it's called as a diluent, so they will dissolve the binder itself and also can be added to increase the capacity of the binder. Then latent solvent. So these are called the liquid that cannot be dissolved the binder by itself, but increases the binder's tolerance for the diluents. So this diluent characteristics will be to dilute that particular binder. So in order to lower that, give some resistance to that diluent, so we have to add some latent solvent. Then thinner. So thinner is nothing but to reduce the viscosity. Then the role played by particular solvent is thinner. So to reduce the viscosity or to improve the flowability characteristics of the particular paint. Then front end solvent. If you require a fast evaporating solvent for the quick drying, we have to add a front end solvent. If you require a slow evaporating characteristics, so then we have to add this tail end solvent. So slow evaporating characteristics. If you want this non-reacting with the sunlight, we have to add this exempt solvent. If you want a medium evaporating solvent, we have to add this middle solvent, or medium drying characteristics of the particular paint, we have to add a middle solvent. Then retarder, slow evaporating characteristics. So to prolong the drying time, we have to add this retarder. Then solvent blend, the particular type of mixture of liquids that gives a paint the desirable flow of evaporation properties. So the a judicial balance between this flow characteristics as well as evaporation characteristics. Evaporation characteristics will be having an effect on the drying conditions of our organic coating, and the flow characteristics will be having a effect on the applicability of the paint, application of the paint. So we have to have a judicial balance between these two, desirable flow and as well as the evaporation characteristics. To do that one, we have to have a solvent blend. So that role played by this particular solvent is called as a solvent blend. Then important considerations in blending solvent is solvency, or nothing but a solvability characteristics of the particular solvent. It should be high. Then evaporation should be moderate. Okay, according to our schedule of drying process or a curing process, that solvent needs to be evaporate. Then viscosity, so it has to lower the viscosity. Okay, as much as possible, it has to lower the viscosity. Then safety. Okay, it should offer utmost safety for any types of paint. Then cost, it needs to be very low. So if the viscosity is very low according to the requirement, then atomization will be very good. If viscosity is very high, then atomization will be very low. Very low pressure atomization will be there. Then there are various important physical and mechanical properties are there for our paints. If you can incorporate all these considerations for the paint film as well as this solvent, then you can be obtaining a good paint film with the following properties, like a good adhesion properties. It will be in good adhesion with the particular substrate. Okay, it will be attaching to the substrate without leaving that one. Flexibility, it will be very much flexible, and it will be abrasion resistant, scratch resistant, and it will be water resistant. Hardness of the film will be good. Then porosity, it will not allow water to flow inside that one. Then swelling will not occur. Okay, usually paint will be usually swelling after the application. Okay, that will not be there if that is a good paint. Then permeability, it will stop the water or some certain other gases to flow inside that one. It will not be permeable, highly permeable. Then it will offer a resistance to chemical, and also it can be used at high temperatures. So this is the ideal characteristics of a paint which we have to take into consideration before mixing the paint vehicle or mixing the various additives into that one. Then plasticizers, there are many types of plasticizers. Okay, these plasticizers will increase the fluidity or the wettability characteristics of that particular paint film or that particular binder. So to do that one, we have to add a plasticizers. So there are many properties which are offered by the plasticizers, like a drying film appearance, specific drying film appearance, substrate adhesion, elasticity it will offer, hardness it will offer. And there are many roles played by the plasticizers. So that entire role is to increase the fluidity or increase the elasticity or increase the flexibility of that particular film only. So use of plasticizers in coatings. There are many types of plasticizers. Okay, phthalates are used very much high, especially in food industries. Also, in the olden days, they use this phthalates because of this toxicity of this phthalates or the reaction with the food products. So they have stopped to use this phthalates, and in place of this one, they have used many types of addipates they are using. So this addipates they are using. So this you can verify. Then additives, there are many roles played by the additives. Usually they are added in very small quantities. Okay, this is the unit 4. Okay, all the three components are there, major components. Very important unit, this one. Okay, then I just want to know what are the difficulties in understanding this course. Is there any difficulty in this course? So that improvements can be made in the next time.
No, sir.
Is it good? Do you like this course?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if you face any difficulty, you can just propose this one so that I can propose in board of studies meeting, and if syllabus is high, so that your juniors will be benefited. So you can provide me the feedback. Anytime you can provide me the feedback so that I will be looking into that issue. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, unit 4, quickly I will contents whatever there in the unit 4, I will just explain you, and after that in the next class we will start this full-fledged unit 4. So this unit 4 is nothing but application and testing of paint. Until the unit 3, we have seen what are the various components, various major components which are there in the preparation of organic coatings. What are their properties? What are their ideal properties after mixing a composition? Okay, preparation entirely we have seen in the unit up to unit 3. Then after this unit 3, we have to see how to apply this mixture onto the substrate. Okay, what are the various modes are there, like a spray application, like a brush application. In the spray application also manual application, then electrostatic application, air application. So many types of applications are there. What are the ideal characteristics of that particular paint, particular coating, so that based on that viscosity or certain consideration, we have to fix which type of application is better. So depending on the viscosity of that particular paint, we have to choose the particular application mechanism, like a brush application. So if the viscosity is very less, okay, we can simply go for the spray application. Okay, that spray application, how much viscosity is ideal, how much viscosity, uh, how much viscosity we have to use a brush paint, until how much viscosity we can use for the electrostatic paint or the air spray guns we can use. So we have to discuss in that one. And testing of the paint. So the main testing property is here the adhesion properties and the thickness of the film we have to test. So we have to see the contents or application of a paint. So in this one, viscosity is the major parameter here. Depending on this viscosity only, we will classify various applications. So like a brush application, spray application, electrostatic spray application, all these application at what, until what viscosity we have to consider which application. The next one is the testing of paints. Okay, testing of paints, the wet paint and dry paint testing, like a film thickness. Okay, what is this film thickness? Like Then dispersion test will be there. Dispersion means so there are many solids in the preparation of a paint we are using. So out of the major components, see this film forming agent is also one type of solid only, but we are converting that as a liquid. Then solvent is a pure liquid phase. Then another additives, pigments, this binders, film forming agents, so extenders, all these are the solids. Somehow they are solids. Okay, whether they are the solids are perfectly dispersing in that particular paint or not. To know that one, okay, that particular pigment is perfectly dispersed or not. To know that one, we have to perform a dispersion test. Okay, Hegman grind we will say. So using that Hegman grind, that apparatus will be there. Using that grind, we can estimate what is the dispersion, how the pigment is dispersed in that particular paint. The next one is the film thickness. So film thickness is nothing but after application of a paint, some gauge will be there, suitable gauge will be there, a plate like thing. I don't remember the exact name that one. So that plate we have to insert that one. The grooves will be there to that plate. Some grooves will be there. So after inserting to that grooves will contain a calibrated scale. So through that, looking at this calibrated scale, we can denote that this particular film, a particular paint, applying one single coating, it is giving this much thickness of the paint. After applying second coating, double coating or triple coating, it is giving this much thickness. So after coming to know that thickness, whether that thickness is suitable for our application or not, depending on that one, we have to offer a additional coatings for that particular substrate. If the thickness of 1 mm is enough, that 1 mm thickness is coming by application by applying one coat, okay, single coat, then that is enough. If that is not ideal, if we require 2 mm thickness, so whether we have to go for certain other paint or we have to apply the same paint in the double coat or triple coat, we have to decide based on this thickness. Then color matching test. Okay, usually hui will be there. Hui is nothing but the ability of that particular paint to replace the hui of other the intensity of the other paint. For example, we are offering certain color. Okay, last time we discussed this one. We are offering certain color like this blue color, something a greenish color, light blue color will be there. If blue color, we have to apply certain red color, a dark color onto this one. We can directly apply. Okay, there is a very little variation in that one. If you want to apply a further light color, further a green color here, okay, light green color, then after applying on this paint second coat, what happens, that color will be entirely a different color. It cannot, that particular low intensity color cannot replace the hue of other color. So in order to lower that one, we have to go first to apply for the white paint. After applying the whitewash, then we have to apply our desired color. To know that one, we have to match a color, whether the particular proposed color is according to our required criteria or not. To know that one, we have to perform a color matching test. So these are the tests are there. The next one is the defects in paints. Okay, defects in paints during the um, uh, application of the paints, there are many defects will be there, whether that particular paint is leaving some brush marks on that one, okay, some brush particles it is leaving, it is coming a leveled paint or a smooth finish is coming or not. So that will be many defects during the application. During storage of the paint, whether the particular paint is having a defect like a skinning is one type of defect. It is attaching, that skin is attaching to the container. Okay, in the container, that entire solvent will be coming out, coming to the top, and entire solid particles will be just settling to the bottom. That is one type of defect. Like this, there are many paints during application, during storage, there are many defects are there, that in detail we have to discuss. And what are the remedies, we have to discuss in detail. So this is the content which is there in the unit 4. Okay, this unit 4 is very much interesting. I will show some videos regarding this unit 4. Okay, do you have any doubt?